Today we're going to be doing a recap, looking at all the trades we took the week of September 22nd through the 26th. And then we're going to do market predictions going into the last week of September and transitioning over to October, which will also be the beginning of the fourth quarter. So let's get right to it. Today's verse of the day, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So this verse is basically just explaining what faith is. Sometimes you're not going to be able to see the blessing that God is preparing for you, but does not mean you should lose faith on your journey to the thing that God has planned for you. You just have to keep your faith and keep your beliefs in check while on the journey, and keep your consistency while on your journey as well, so that you don't lose the blessing that God has intended for you. With that being said, let's get right to the charts. All right, you guys, so here we have the SPY chart loaded up on the 5-minute time frame. So currently we're looking at Monday, September 22nd, ticker symbol SPY. And Monday it was a profitable day for us. Our first initial trade, we did take a small baby paper cut loss, and I just stopped out of it really quickly. It didn't go in the direction that I wanted to towards the opening bell of the day. It actually broke out of this orb level here, as you guys see, right at 8:45. You see the candle closure above the orb high. Once it closed above orb high, it simply pushed all the way into the 663.50 level. And at that point, I believe my entry was right around this 662.80 level. Once it pushed above this previous candle back into the orb high, I stopped that immediately because I knew that this was going to just rip and run all the way to the upside. However, we were able to catch a reversal to the downside right around 10 o'clock. We caught this wick here off of 665.32, and we were able to catch this move back down into 664.50, and we took some profits here, and that was our trade. That was our trade that made us money that day. So Monday was actually an interesting day because the buyers just took over. They just took off with the market opening at 662, closing all the way at 666.50. So that was Monday. Moving into Tuesday, here we have the charts loaded, and the market opened essentially right at the all-time high of this chart at 667.20, 667.50, which is the all-time highs of this chart. I wasn't confident that the market was going to go any further than this level, and I mean the risk was pretty defined at the highs of this chart. If it broke out, then we would see higher. If it failed, we would see lower. So I took the thought process of it failing just because of these wicks here. You guys will see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different wicks. I actually got in at the top of this range, and I rode this all the way back down to the orb low. And once I rode down to the orb low, I took profits because I saw that it was reversing back off the orb low. So I thought it was going to be a consolidation there, and it was for a period of time, and then it ended up failing the orb low, and we saw some downside come in later in the day. So another day, another profit, which is really good. We did, however, take a loss on Tuesday as well over on our Tesla trade that we tried to take off the open. We just got in this play at a really early time. We got in right around 4:35, and we ended up getting stopped out here once it closed back above that level. I was simply using that wick high as a stop loss because it looked like it looked like a downtrend forming on Tesla, which it was. I was just early to the entry because, as you guys see, over time it did end up going back down to my level that I had targeted, which was 431.86. So yeah, we took a small paper cut loss on this, but we made our money in SPY, so that was very good. Let's move on to the next trade. Here we have the Wednesday chart loaded. Market opened right around 664.40, and we were able to set the orb levels from 664.40 back into 663.50 essentially. And we were really weak on this day. So I was like, yeah, this looks like it's just gonna dump. So I took puts right here on this candle right before the orb level fully confirmed setting up. Just because of the momentum and the way the volume was, I just was super confident in this play failing, and sure enough, I caught the perfect entry here from this candle all the way down back into 662.41. Then we retraced back into 663.50, and we pretty much consolidated there for almost an hour until we finally got some more failure here, and I actually got back in this play right at this level at 10 o'clock. Once we saw the failure back off the orb low, I saw the confirmation. I used the candle high of this candle as a stop loss, and we caught the momentum back into the downside, took some profits, and now it's Wednesday. Wednesday was a very Very smooth, very easy trade. Just took patience, honestly, and that's the name of the game with trading. It's all about patience and how well you're willing to let the play out. It won't happen when you want it. You just have to let the market do what it does. And once it does what it do, I promise you guys will be way better off as traders, especially day traders, if you just sit patiently and wait for your levels to hit. And on your stop loss, I mean, you guys see here in my trade that I re-entered, it got close to my stop loss, but it didn't hit my stop loss. If it got anywhere closer to my stop loss, I simply would have stopped out. This actually ended up turning out to be 100% trade, just simply due to the fact that you guys see the continued failure after we hit our levels. So you never know what the market will do or when it will do it. You just have to be in position for it to happen. When you're in position for things to happen, you'll be surprised. So here we have the Thursday's chart loaded, and we are actually on the Palantir chart because we traded Palantir on Thursday. So our thought process going into Thursday was what were the weakest names in the pre-market. At the time, Palantir was one of those names just because it went from 185 all the way down to 173. So I was like, oh, this is really weak. I just want to see a retracement back into the demand zone, which was around 178 to 180. We didn't get to 180, but we did get to 178. And so I saw the wick off the opening bell, and I said, cool, I'll take that and I'll use this as stop loss. I got in here at this candle right around 176. I used the previous candle high that they had on the opening bell candle, which was 177.20 as our stop loss, and I rode this back down into 174.20. We were able to catch some really good gains off this play, but then it reversed and did a full engulfing candle on the very next candle, and I messed up. I tried to take continued rejections after rejection after rejection, but Palantir did what Palantir does, and that thing ran off with my money. So we took an L on Thursday, unfortunately, just simply due to the fact that I was trying to chase a rejection back down into the demand level of 174 off of the 180 level. And in between 180 to 182, I was trying to take puts back down to the downside. But Palantir did not want to go back down. It was very, very bullish for the majority of the day. We did get some rejections once we finally reached 184, but at that point, I was already tapped out. I was like, you know what? I'm going to let Palantir have it today. I'm going to come back tomorrow stronger and better, and we're going to execute. And that's exactly what we did. Let's move on to Friday. So here we have the Friday chart loaded, and Friday was a movie. Here we have the Palantir chart loaded once again. We just saw that the market looked to be doing a dead cat bounce, which typically means that the market's going to pump and dump or move in a certain direction with a certain amount of volume until it hits a certain rejection, any rejection really, in order for it to reverse. And that's exactly what SPY did, and as SPY did it, Palantir did it as well. So I chose the path to trade Palantir once again, and we had some really good success on Palantir. Fortunately, due to just good charting and just being prepared for the market to dump. So we caught our first entry on Palantir right after the orb setup. We saw it inverse and tried to reclaim the demand zone of 178. Once we retested 178 and got a few wicks off of the level, I said, okay, cool. I see it's wicking here. I'm just going to take a position right around 9 o'clock. Exactly that time, it did exactly what I expected to and dumped. So we took one retest off 178, two retests on 178, and three retests on 178. At the third retest level, I said, cool, I'm going to take puts and use this as stop loss. So I got in at 177.42, and I had a 60-cent range of risk. I rode this thing all the way back down to 175, took profits. I was able to wait it out and catch it again later in the day. After a while, I let the market settle down a little bit. It was a little chaotic, and I was able to catch this play once again once we retested the orb low level of 177.21, and we were able to catch this quick move back to the downside. Right after the candle closed and opened, it went right back down to 176.22, and we caught over 100% on this trade. So this is a very good trading day just because of the price action, the way the market moved, and we were able to read the market to a T and really just take advantage of the execution of the market throughout this week. So overall, really good week in the market. Those are the kind of weeks that you capitalize the best in, especially when you're super locked in and focused on trading and looking at the charts and understanding the charts and just being patient with your plays and letting them play out. We were able to let a lot of our plays breathe and just run at really good levels and really good rates to see really good returns on our trades. So happy to execute, especially towards the end of quarter 4 like that. Now let's move on and talk about what we can expect going into the 4th quarter for the market. So here we have the SPY chart loaded up once again, this time on the 4-hour chart. And we're just taking a look at the overall market structure right now, trying to get an idea of what we can expect going into next week. Here we have 2 very long wicks on this retest of demand here right around 655 and 654. We actually did not fail below the 654 level. So this shows us that there's still some strength in the market regarding the buyer's interest in wanting to buy up the dip. And as you guys see, it's still being bought up. We did, however, retest 662.30 and rejected on Friday, but we reclaimed that and closed right around 662. So what can we expect going into next week? Well, I think we're in a very interesting spot right now. It does look like a very, very interesting pattern, which is called the inverse head and shoulders. It's setting up right now. You guys see the left shoulder right here, the neck, and the right shoulder forming right here. So I think that if we cannot get back above this 662.50 level going into next week, we will see further down, and as far as back down into 654, and if not lower. If and when we retest 654 and we fail 654, we will see back down to 650. And if we fail 650, then ladies and gentlemen, strap in, buckle up, because we're going back down to 640 and it might be time for a correction. That is just my thoughts and my opinion. Make sure you guys do your own research. But if we cannot get back above 662.50 going into next week, I think that we will see more downside coming into the market. However, if we push back above 662.50, then we can push back into 665. From 665, if we break out and go back above 665, we can see 667. And if we break 667, we can push into 672. These are my targets from the upside and the downside. With that being said, comment below what your thoughts are. If you guys have any questions regarding day trading or investing, feel free to leave a comment. Shoot me a text on IG at Continue Belief or TikTok. And I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you guys stay safe, stay consistent, stay positive. Continue to believe in your dreams, and you will accomplish the things you want to accomplish. See you guys next time.